Hello and welcome to Merlin's Brick News, the weekly show on all things brick building, where we talk about set updates and announcements from all the major brands, MOCs of the week, a couple of LEGO ideas updates as well. Bricklink Designer Program is a topic for today also, and of course we will also have a couple of reading recommendation. Information is presented as always by setdb.org, the best source for set information on the internet. This is where we are going to go, and we will start as always in alphabetical order through the brands with BlueBrixx, and here we have two new availabilities. First of all, the luxury limo with pool, the 107090. I have no idea if such a card actually does exist. However, BlueBrixx has made this set out of it. 650 pieces, 20 bucks in the European Union, and that's 3.1 cents a piece. Yeah, what can I say? It's a pretty long limo. You can remove the roof. It's like, how many studs is that? It's like 8 studs, so it's basically in width, similar to what LEGO calls a Speed Champion. However, it's obviously much longer. And then we have availability of the 107069. They call it the Black US Tow Truck. The 107069. It has 453 pieces, it's roughly 20 centimeters in length, and it's gonna cost you 16 bucks, 3.5 cents a piece. And yeah, it's a tow truck, so there's nothing else to say about how many studs. We're talking about 8 studs again, similar format. So basically something that should fit into your brick-built city. However, I guess at least it won't work with the current street system of LEGO, because I think these streets are too narrow. With that, we're moving on to Cobi, and here we have only one availability over in the EU. Haven't seen yet any availability in North America of the Cobi Spitfire Mark 16 bubble top, the 5865. So this is 1x48 air fleet by Cobi, i.e. not minifigure scale. This is much smaller. It has only 152 pieces, and it's going to cost you over here in the European Union 16 bucks, 11.2 cents a piece. That is quite high. However, these 1x48 airplanes always are, because they're pretty small sets actually. So yeah, this is a legendary Spitfire. I know there's a lot of debate who won the Battle of England. Was it the Spitfire or was it the other one? I don't know. I'm in the Spitfire camp, I must say. Nevertheless, I think Cobi has done a beautiful design here. And I think the 1x48 airplanes have, of course, the great benefit that you can collect entire air fleets without, breaking the bank or, have to switch houses or something like that. Anyhow, we are moving on to Funhole. And here we have availability of 2 new sets, actually, which is quite interesting. And that is, first of all, the Sheriff's Office. That is the 9026 by Funhole. It has 1,240 pieces, 4 minifigs. And what else is to say? It is available Funhole directly, and in, let's say, with Chinese retailers around 80 bucks, 80 to 83 to 85 bucks. However, as always, Funhole is bringing their own sets into their own Amazon stores. And for instance, at Amazon US, Funhole is selling it for 70 bucks. And they are also pretty heavily working with discounts and everything. So usually that is the way to go. Yeah, what's not to like about it? Let's look at the building itself. I mean, it's a relatively simple design. I think it should work very well with the Western Saloon that was recently released for minifigures. It's not too shabby. I don't know if they've ever done so many minifigures in such a small set. Obviously, the Funhole minifigures are a bit, let's say, special. Some people love them. Some people can't take them serious, but in whichever camp you are, they are well made, I must say. And yeah, here we go, Sheriff Office. I don't know exactly how the print situation is. There will be, I'm pretty sure, a couple of UV prints in there. So for instance, this 2x2 tile looks like a UV print, and this one is for sure. You can see this on the surface. That this is not pad printed, but it is printed. So I don't know if there are even any stickers in the set, or if we're all talking prints here. Let's see. I will definitely take a look at this one. Maybe I will do a written review. Let's say pieces, as always, will be with BlueBrixx. By the way, that's a new feature in the set debate. Not for all of the sets, but for many alternative brands where basically the brand is sourcing the parts from other companies. I will try to maintain this in ZDB now as well. And in case of Funhole, it's with very few exceptions, as usually BlueBrixx, and all the new sets are all BlueBrixx. Not too bad. And with that, we are moving on to the medieval watchtower, the 9027. This one is already available at Amazon as well. 90 bucks at Amazon for roughly 1,625 pieces. Not too bad, especially considering that you have always the excellent lighting in the Funhole sets. I mean, I've said this in the past. Funhole, that's the same company behind that is also doing lighttailing and BlueBrixx Lego retrofit light solutions. And they are high quality and very, very good. Basically, that's what I don't know, 90% of my lighting, and I have a lot, I must say, is from these companies, and I'm a big fan of this system. It's very comparable to many of the other systems, but especially BlueBrixx is also my MOCs. I really love that. What else is to say? 3 minifigures. It's part of the medieval series. I think they even have a picture in here with the other 2 sets. So they did very recently, I did some reporting on this, the medieval apothecary, and they also did a medieval market. And oh my god, I have to browse through a lot of pictures. There's no picture of this one anymore, but there was a picture where you could see all 3 sets together. And what you can also see here, I think, I'm pretty sure, again, look at the surface. This is, again, UV print. So obviously UV prints are not as good as pad printed, but it's still better than stickers, I would argue. Obviously, you can also basically use this set very well together with all your minifigure castle, collection. There is a cow in there that is olive green, which is really, really cool. I've never seen a cow in this color. I mean, in the Alps, you sometimes see colors, but that would be more like dark tan, I guess. This one here looks like olive green, which is a bit weird. And I should also mention that 3 minifigures is wrong. It's actually 4 minifigures. I need to fix that. Anyhow, let's move on to Lego. And here we have a new ideas set. Actually, one that came out of an ideas competition. I think it was called like something with family. I think the call was design us an idea that basically reflects what family means to you. And I think this designer here, actually I've linked as always in ZDB the design entry. The original one, I think the idea was here, what the author was writing about, like they have a tradition in the family, if I recall correctly, that they actually have a tree where they add pictures of family members, and this was growing over the years. And this is the idea here. So you have a relatively nice tree with a black bark or a black trunk, which has a certain, let's say, castle 80s, 90s forestman vibe to it. Then they have red limb elements, quite beautiful actually. Then they have a ton of extras that I think the idea is that you can basically decorate the tree however you want. But then I think the important stuff is that they have these clips. And then the idea is that you can basically attach photos using these clips to the tree. I think that is the goal. I don't know, please keep me honest here, if that is something that Lego has done before, these clips. Is this a new mold? I guess it is, but again, keep me honest here. I at least have never seen them before. I do know that Kada has done this in the past, but not so sure if Lego ever has. Anyhow, 16 of these clips are included, and you can put all the stuff, including the clips and let's say all the spare parts of all the extras for different decorations you can put in the base. That's basically a box. Yeah, quite nice. Curious how the sticker situation is. I mean, I would love to have this Our Family thing as a print, this 2x4 tile, but yeah, let's see how it goes. With that, we're moving on to Isabella's Flower Pot, which is a Disney set, 43237. It's gonna, by the way, I forgot, the family tree is gonna cost you 90 bucks basically. Oh, 90 in the US. In Europe, and 80 in the US. So that's one of the few sets that is actually a bit cheaper in the rest of the world compared to Europe, but here we go, and let's go back to the flower pot. This has 641 pieces, a minifig as far as I know, a mini doll I should rather say, and it's going to cost you $40 US, 45 euros, and the other currencies are accordingly. And yeah, I mean, it's a flower pot. It has 2 lilies, I think is the English word for them, right? I don't know, they're pretty purple. I've never seen ones that are so colorful. Most of the ones that at least my wife is collecting are more like white with colored dots on the inside, something like that. But anyhow, I'm for sure not an expert on any kind of flower. But in the pot, you have a kind of a room that you can open up. I think because of the flowers, it's still not really practical to take this one with you, but it could still be quite nice, right? To open it up, play a bit, then, you know, close it again, put it on the shelf. I guess at least parents who keep a very tidy kids room may enjoy this, that there's an easy included or built-in way to store this in a more efficient and clean looking manner. But anyhow, I'm neither a flower nor a Disney fan. I mean, I'm a fan of Disney, but not of this specific movie. Anyhow, let's move on to a Disney Stitch, the 43249, a built figure of Stitch, which is really, really cool, 730 pieces. And it's going to start like the other sets before March 1st, and Lego is listing these for $65, both in Europe as well as in the US. And it's a cool Stitch. I mean, I really like it. As far as I can tell, his Hawaii shirt is done with stickers. Maybe these slopes are pet printed, but they're definitely, I think you could see this on this picture here, there are definitely also stickers included. Even a half sticker, which is really, really cool. And yeah, I mean, I think it's great design. Really like it. You can basically, you have a flexible attachment of the ears, so you can change the positions, which is really cool. And yeah, if you're a fan of Stitch, then this may be for you, or if it's too big or too expensive for you, you could go also into the Stitch brick hat, the 4674. It's a typical brick hat, so $10, basically. And what can I say? I mean, it's a bit simple for my taste. I think that's a problem of the character. I mean, if you look at the larger Stitch figure, I'm sorry, I had a cough. If you look at the larger Stitch figure, there's a lot of colors in it, right, with the shirt and everything. And this brick hat is really, really simple. So in a nutshell, you have two colors, right? You have a little bit of pink and a little bit of blue, and that's it. I don't know. It looks a bit boring, especially compared to this one here, the brick hat's Iron Spider-Man, the 4670. Again, $10 for a typical brick hat. Has a ton of prints in there. I mean, I would even argue, I mean, if you look at the number of prints for the spider web, that's even more than it looks like more at least than what the big mask has that was recently released. And then you even have a spider 2x6 tile on the center. So that's really cool. I think, yeah, they put a lot of effort into this brick hat. The brick hat itself is quite simple. Because he was wearing a mask, so there's no hair or anything, so it's a rather small brick hat, but nevertheless. But we also have now Knuckles and Shadow from Sonic the Hedgehog, the 406672. It is a duo package. It's accordingly gonna cost you $20. Again, US, Europe, and all the other currencies follow along. And yeah, I mean, it's Knuckles, it's Shadow. What's not to like about it? Especially Shadow is really, really cool looking. If you ask me, not many prints included, simply were not necessary. I mean, yes, Shadow has the arrow on the forehead, and of course you have, as always, eyes. But long story short, it's two brick hats. It's Sonic's. With that, we're moving on to the Potted Groot, the 40671. This one is interesting. It's again $10. Because it is a potted Groot, it has only a 3x3 shape on the torso, which is interesting. So it's a bit smaller than a regular briquette is. Usually they're 4x4. Obviously, here with Groot, everything is centered around the head, which is actually higher than usual, which again makes sense because Groot has a very high head. But of course, it gives it an interesting shape and dynamic, I would say, in the shape, which is quite interesting. Of course, you have also a little bit of leaves and plants on top of his head growing there. Interesting printing situation. So we have a ton of 1x2, or not ton, but at least 3 1x2 printed tiles. But it seems also on the torso, it is a printed 1x2 brick, I would guess. So that's interesting. But yeah, next to that, oh, here's even another printed tile, so it's at least 4 on the hat. I like this design. I think it's quite interesting. With that, we're moving on to a couple of additional Chinese brands. Mork Here we have now availability in Asia of the Vikings house, this 33051. This is, of course, I would guess it's a house I think that should fit very well with the Lego Ideas Viking house or Viking set, Viking village. This one here, though, has 3085 pieces, quite large. Gonna cost you in China around $100. And yeah, I mean, it is an interesting design for sure, pretty large actually, 41 by 30 by 25 centimeters roughly. So that's not a small one. I mean, of course, it's not a very realistic design. It's even less realistic than the Lego design is. Even Lego, you know, with the helmets and everything, Vikings were never running around like this, and we all know that. But this one goes even over the top, right, with basically ship transformed into building. I'm pretty sure the Vikings would have never done that. The Viking longhouse was much simpler. So this feels a bit more like Asterix and Obelix, if you ask me, than actual Vikings. But it's also a bit fantastical, so why not? Pretty neat looking for sure. And then we have a new set, actually from Mould King. As always, Mould King is not having any licenses. So I guess the idea is that this is a Liebherr LTM 11200. But yeah, they call it Liebherr because they don't have a license. Anyhow, it is a giant Technic behemoth. As far as I can say, this design, the design of the set itself is authentic, is original by Mould King. I mean, there are a couple of MOCs that are very similar because they basically build the same vehicle, right? So I guess that's why they are looking so similar. But as always, it's hard to figure this out, and I for sure haven't built it, and I'm not going to because this thing has 8,506 pieces. And it's going to cost you in China around $380, or in the Bauer EU warehouse, they have it already $460. There are a couple of Amazon shop listings, but not available yet. But I guess you have to import this one from Asia. And yeah, I mean, it's enormous. It's gigantic. I think Mould King had announcements around this one for quite a while. So I guess it's not easy to make this one. And based on what I hear from folks who build Technic sets or MOCs in this size, this is going to be a tough one. So let's see of all the functions. There's a ton of motors in there and stuff. So I'm really curious, really looking forward to getting the first reports of folks who have actually built this giant. It's a 1 meter and 60 in height. And again, keep in mind, you can drive around this thing as far as I can tell. I mean, look at all these wheels that you can move. So this is going to be a challenge for sure. Anyhow, let's move on. And here we have now from Pantasy, they have a new license. They have now Kung Fu Panda. And they have, I think, 5 sets announced. I will only talk about the large one. And they have also 4 small ones that look very different to BrickHeads, but are basically similar, let's say, size than BrickHeads. So small, brick built, over stylized figures, but it's not the same. But yeah, just if you want to check this out, just go here on the Pantasy brand in ZTB, and then I think it should be the top 4 or 5 sets. Anyhow, we will now talk about the large one, the 86504. There's 1,500 pieces roughly. As always, Pantasy is not giving us precise numbers. Pantasy is listing this one for $120, but you can also get it from other Chinese retailers for around $90. And I haven't seen the movie for such a long time, but I do recall this scene, you know, with the makeup and everything, and the egg and stuff. So I don't know. I definitely have to check out the movie again because I forgot so much. It's like forever I've seen this one, but it looks really, really nice. Do like it. As always, Pantasy, usually it's very high quality what they do. Usually no stickers anymore or BlueBrixx pieces. That is what I would expect. I will see that we get a review on this one on the site. But yeah, it's going to take us a little bit more time. Speaking of reviews on the site, I do hope that I haven't talked about this review or reading recommendations already last week. Actually, I can't recall. I'm pretty sure I did not because I think it came out after the show. I'm not so sure. Anyhow, I did a review on the new battle pack from Lego, the new, let's say, expensive one. I think some folks call these super battle packs. Anyhow, 75372, and I'm a big fan of this battle pack, I must say. I mean, for various reasons. I mean, it's awesome to have super battle droids again. I also do believe that Lego did a great job. I mean, I still wish that the Super Battle Droids were not hollow on the inside, but I guess that's, you know, part of the Lego system, so I guess they have to do it like this. But of course, that doesn't make them very look very good from the back. However, you almost never see them from the back. So that's fine, I guess. And I think they did a great job with the new design. It looks very similar to the original, I would say, much more than its predecessor. However, what we all hope for is that LEGO fixed the clip problem. In fact, I just wrote somewhere here in this review, all of the Super Battle Droids in our household were broken over the years. So actually my son had a couple, he bought them used, and they broke over time, all of them. Actually 100% failure rate. So I do hope that LEGO has fixed this. I guess a lot of us think that this is the reason, the problems of these clips were the reason why LEGO hasn't made them for, I think, 8 years or almost 9 years, since 2015, I think. The large battle pack, including them, was like 2007, which of course was the golden era of the battle packs. But I think this one is up to it, because we have 3 super battle droids and we have 4 clones. Of course, some folks may argue that the helmets are still awful with the extra helmet hole. By the way, I have a new macro on my camera, so I can get really close now. And you can see that even top-notch LEGO prints are not that good if you think about it. But yeah, I mean, this is also me because I got really, really close. And anyhow, I think it's still a great Shock Trooper. I think the Shock Trooper was one of the better minifigures from the gunship recently. And then we have these Phase 2 standard clone troopers without any coloring, and which of course is amazing, because with that you can fill up basically every legion. Technically, if you look at the torso and the legs, this is the same stuff that we got with the Phase 1 clone troopers from this blister battle pack kind of thingy that we got together with the AT-AT, or basically in the same similar time frame. And they just changed the helmets to the Phase 2 helmets based on the new mold with the weird holes. So still don't like the helmet, but except next to that, what's not to like about the builds are cool, actually. I do believe the separatist side, I mean, the tripod is much too small. I think it should be like 3 times as big, but it's nice and very well done. And the step actually is really amazing. I think it's the best one that LEGO has ever done, and I definitely intend, usually, you know, with battle packs, I'd never build this stuff. I just throw it away or just keep the parts. But this step I will actually use going forward, because it's really well made and there's no reason to use something else, in my personal opinion. The tripod is nice, but again, it's far too small. But yeah, and on the Republic side, just ignore the builds. They are awful, but that's okay. It's a battle pack. You don't buy them for the builds. Anyhow, let's move on. We also had a review, actually done by me again, of the Danube class Runabout, the 105697. And it's a mid-size model, so around 500-600 pieces. These sets usually. And it's a very nice build, really like it. The only thing I didn't like is that, for whatever reason, BlueBrixx decided to make this thing like 2 modules. My understanding is from fans who have told me that this modular stuff is something the extended universe, i.e. the books and stuff, talk about. But I'm almost 1% sure, as a big fan of back in the day DS9, where we have never seen this in DS9. None of these, the Ryro Grant and all the others, have never done this. So that's why I find it a bit strange, because it's not really helping the build. It's making it even less stable, and of course it's not looking that well. If you look into the cockpit, there's no way, of course. Basically, there's this entire section, right? Moving between the cockpit and the rear end of the ship is basically all missing. The transporter, I mean, there's so much opportunity gone. And like I said, it's not even helping with stability, quite the opposite. In fact, this 2 Technic pin connection is not very robust. You have to attach the roofs in order to make it stable. So that's a bit weird. The other thing I did not like that much is, if you look at these 1x1 2/3 slopes, they are like have a pretty rough surface, which looks like it's kind of, that is what the manufacturer wanted to do. I mean, it looks like scratches, but because all of them have it, it almost sounds like this is part of the mold somehow. However, if you look at the printed ones, they do not. So it's very strange, but for sure, independent of if that was actually intended or not, or intentional or not, it definitely doesn't look good if you have this surface for a window. But next to that, it is a real beautiful build. And with that, we're moving on to another review that we did on the mid-size USS Stargazer from the Star Trek series. And this one, I mean, it's a Stargazer. We don't see it that much, especially this old one. It's, of course, Picard's ship, original ship, where he actually became commanding officer or captain of his ship first time. And yeah, I mean, it's a beautiful design in many ways, especially if you look at the warp drives. And having 4 warp drives, of course, is very special and quite interesting. The saucer section, though, I mean, you have this slope-based snot design. I mean, I always like, you know, some snot building techniques using these brick modifieds and everything. That's pretty cool, but I'm not the slopes are special. I mean, if you look at these pictures, on one hand, it's really, really cool because you have the 4 warp drives, which looks amazing, but then you have all these slopes. And they don't look that good in this context. So that's a big problem. But next to that, it's a beautiful ship. The sand blue is a nice, you know, switch from the typical Star Trek ship designs. Piece quality, I mean, you have sometimes, as always, with BlueBrixx / Xingbao pieces, you have stuff like this. That is, of course, awful. But you have pretty good print design, print quality. So what's not to like about that? So all in all, a pretty nice set. By the way, I talk about the sprue points. Here I have a comparison. So this on the right here is BlueBrixx Pro. / Xingbao. In the center you have Lego, and then you have GoBrixx on the left. I would argue that GoBrixx is better nowadays than Lego is. I mean, if you look at it, however, Lego is covering this up a little bit by using their, you know, their logo also to cover up the attachment point. But actually, I would say GoBrixx nowadays has the cleanest one, and then yeah, Xingbao / BlueBrixx is worse compared to the other two. With that, we're moving on to Bricklink Designer Program, and here we have actually it's showing me euro prices. I don't have the dollar price. I don't know what I need to do. I guess I need to switch something in my browser. But anyhow, we have now availability. Not yet. We have an announcement of availability coming actually February 7th as 8 a.m. Pacific time. You will be able to buy these 5 bad boys, maximum 2 of each, and I think Lego is willing to make 30,000 of each of them. So that's actually higher than it was last time. I think last time it was like 10,000, if I recall correctly. Plus, the limit was originally higher. So now with the lower limit and 30,000, I think we are pretty good. I'm not sure which of these are selling out. All 5 designs are really beautiful, very well done, including the small one. Parisian Street by Nicolas Caillé. The only thing to keep in mind is that he has actually, he has this design or a very similar design on Rebrickable for quite a while. So this might be interesting as well as an alternative. Could be cheaper depending on how big your collection already is. But he also licensed this design, or again, very similar. I mean, he has this Parisian Street, he's calling it, I think on Rebrickable, it's called a cafe. But also this, especially this design, he has very similar also licensed to Cada. So you can buy a pretty similar set from Cada, which of course is a lot cheaper. I think it's far below $100. And Cada is making pretty decent pieces. Yes, Cada has no prints. However, there's a good chance that you won't find any prints in here as well. Cada has no minifigures, of course, but the question is, are you going to will to pay almost $200 more just to get the 7 minifigs? So that's something to think about. But next to that, it is a beautiful design, and all the other designs are great. My personal favorite, of course, has to be the Mountain Fortress. But the general store is also pretty cool. Should fit very well, by the way, with the Funhole Western sets. So this could be something to think about. With that, we're moving on to Lego ideas. And here we have 42 product ideas in the third 2023 ideas review phase. So we just had, I think for the first one, the set announcements, right? Second one is still in the making, and third one just wrapped up. Only 42. So as you may recall, I think I talked about it last week. In the round 1 2023, it was more than 70, which was crazy. I mean, even 40 is crazy. I mean, it used to be like a dozen in the old times. So ideas still very popular, and we have a couple of very cool designs in here. Let's go through them briefly. First of all, we have the Modular Heritage Museum by Anon22. It is a nice design, an interesting corner design, right, with this curved shape, which I think Lego has never done. However, it is a modular, so chances are almost zero for it becoming an idea set. But I guess if you throw in a modular into a Lego Ideas contest, I think you're not going for actually becoming a set. You're going for the price for getting 10,000 subscribers or 10,000 votes, fans, whatever. I think that is what you're going for, and I think a very decent job here. And then we have the Great Temple of Abu Simbel by Ilpas. Yes, it's an Egyptian temple, which is really cool. Personally, I wished Lego would have done a temple instead of the pyramids in the architecture series last year, but hey, here we go. But yeah, I don't think that the Ideas team is going to pick this one either, because this is architecture territory, and I think there's no reason for them to use Ideas for that. Anyhow, then we have the Rolls-Royce Phantom 1, the Phantom of Love by DMXart. Yeah, I mean, it's a Rolls-Royce. It's big, it's large, it's a Phantom. I don't think that Lego will do this in Ideas either. Then we move on to the Moon Palace by Lego Truman. Lego Truman has actually multiple designs in here in this round, and this is a beautiful build. Really like this. Could have certain stability issues, to put it like that. I think it's a beautifully designed Mork. Too risky, I do believe, for Lego, but nevertheless, really like this design. Would love to have this as a set that I can actually buy, especially because it is a bit more advanced, right? With the moon, with you know, this entire build, the entire kind of way it floats, would be so amazing to have this as a set. But like I said, too risky. Then we have one of my personal favorites, not favorites by mean of the most thing that I love the most, but where I think it has the highest chances. I think Lego has a problem. The Saturn is a beloved set by so many. Lego kept it in the market, you know, they did the refined version and they kept it in the market like forever, but now it's gone, and I think it was a real, you know, real cash machine for Lego. So I think they need something else, and I think this could be the one, because it is again a very large rocket. It's in the modern Artemis. Yes, the Artemis rocket doesn't have the cool color scheme that the old Saturn rocket had, but that is definitely something that Lego is going to consider to make one of these rockets. And they're really into space right now. So I think this one has high chances. Then we have the Lego Anatomy by Lego Truman again. Personally, I think this is like too much detail. In quotes, of the insides of the Lego minifigure for Lego to actually do it. I think they never will. I remember I've heard once the story how tough it was for the Lego team to get even the skeleton minifigure back in the day out of the top management from Lego, and yeah, I think they will never do it like this. But it's a cool design by Lego Truman. Really like it. I think these brick build minifigures are not really my cup of tea. I mean, they have done these Harry Potter figures, the pirate guy, the regular standard minifigure, if you will, the classic minifigure. Personally, not a big fan of that, but I think a lot of people love it. So I would, you know, I think a lot of them would also love this one here. What I could think about, but this may go too far away from the original design by Lego Truman, is just to use a 50% regular minifigure and 50% skeleton. This may be possible. Skeleton, on the other hand, 100% skeleton, they will never do, because it's impossible to make this robust. But, I mean, maybe with some rigid hoses on the inside, but Lego almost never does that. So, no, I think you can't do it. But this one here may be an option. But then we have Coraline, the Pink Palace, the Big Chicken. We have actually two sets that look like this. So I'm not into modern pop culture music, because it's multiple sets with the exact same design. I would say, okay, this must be Taylor Swift, but I have actually no idea. So yeah, please let me know in the comments. Yeah. Anyhow, then we have the Twin Towers, which I think, just from a brick build design perspective, me, myself, big architecture fan, this is my personal favorite. However, it's done by Daniel ASC. I'm not sure if Lego will do the Twin Towers. I think it's not an easy topic to handle as a big company. That's the problem, I guess. I mean, I don't think you want to do this because, there's a lot of, I mean, it's one of the most awful and tragic stories of recent history, and I think that's always very dangerous territory from a public relations point of view for a big company, for a large company. It doesn't matter how they do it. There will always be folks who will say they did it wrong, and so it's complicated. So that's why I don't think they will do this, but it's a beautiful architecture design. Would love to have it. I mean, I was on the Twin Towers a week before it happened back in the day, and yeah, it was magical. How should I say? And the building was magical also, to a certain degree, if you're into skyscrapers. Anyhow, with that, we have Good Ogle's Garden by BlueBrixx. BlueBrixx usually does modulars, most of foremost on Ideas, so I was surprised to see these. But yeah, they are very well done, but planted pots. I don't think that Lego will still do this with Ideas, because now they have the botanical collection. It's doing really well, and I think they will rather focus on this one. Then we have Happier Than Ever from Friedrich III. And this is a TV, of course, very similar to designs that we have seen from Pantasy around this. However, I really like this entire scene. I like the roof touch. So I actually prefer this design compared to the Pantasy ones. But yeah, I mean, it's really cool. It would fit the Ideas program. Not sure if Lego's going to do it, though. Then we have by BlueBrixx, again, one of his modulars. And they're always great, always beautiful. But again, Lego will never do them. And I think that is not what BlueBrixx is going for. But he has the City Burger. And I don't know, it's unbelievable how BlueBrixx has made this kind of his thing, his stick, if you will, to throw in these great modulars that will never make it, but I guess for him it's enough to get the price for reaching 10,000, and he's doing this like almost like a manufacturing process, it seems. It's unbelievable how many he's throwing out. He's doing a great job on marketing, so yeah, he's making the 10,000 very often. Then we have Desktop Rock and Roll by Edwin. I think this is a jukebox. Yeah, looks nice, looks authentic to a certain degree. I've actually never seen one in person, a real one, but looks nice. And then we have Pioneers and Ferb by Greygo. I have no idea what this is about, like license-wise. My apologies for my ignorance. But yeah, I guess the design looks a bit, I don't know, simple for my taste. I guess this fits the origin of this design. And then we have the JWST by Tony's my uncle, which is a cool nickname. Really like it. I mean, it's this design here. It's done only digitally. It's very chrome heavy. Like I said, Lego needs something to basically throw into the whole NASA thing. So it could be interesting for that. However, I think a rocket will do a lot better than a telescope or a satellite or anything like that. With that, we have Harry Styles' Love on Tour 2023. Again, not so much into this kind of stuff, but hey, why not? Why not? If you're interested in a stage. I mean, I don't know. If you're interested in that, you could buy a video set from the old days, but that's just me. Then we have the Lego microscope from Brick Science 16476. And yeah, it's a microscope in bricks. Definitely something Lego could think about, right? I mean, they have done the typewriter and stuff, so why not? Especially the idea teams is always good for a set like this. And then we have the Sequoia tree trail from Peace on Earth, and this is an amazing redwood design. It's so huge, unbelievable that he could this entire build with less than 3,000 pieces. So that's really cool. And yeah, I like the redwood design. Obviously, there's not enough green on this tree. It's almost like a dead tree. The smaller one actually looks a bit more realistic, but nevertheless, really like the tree design. And then we have the Tesla Center by BlueBrixx 95, and this is an amazing build, I do believe. So I don't know if Lego can actually get their hands on a Tesla license. I mean, Tesla is working with Mega / Mattel. They had this enormous Cybertruck. But I think, yeah, this one here, small building, could be quite interesting. Why not? Fits the times. And then we have Working Kennel Lock by Baron von Baron or Baron von Baron vielleicht. Keine Ahnung. It's an interesting German-English mix. But interesting design, for sure. Looks quite cool. The kennel lock is really well done, I must say. I mean, there's a lot. You need a lot of dimension in this, right, in order to get this at least to a little bit realistic. And this is very well done with this mountain on the side. I personally don't think that this is Ideas material, but it looks really cool. And then we have the Christmas theater from Tom79 Isaiah, I guess Isaiah. It's written, but I guess it means Isaiah or Isaiah. I don't know. Nice idea. It's a nice theater. I think that they have two different plays or two different scenes, a night concert and a day theater play, I guess. Daylight theater play. What's not to like about snow? So I actually do like it. And then we have Wreck-It Ralph 10th Anniversary. Again, a license that I'm not familiar with, and I'm so sorry for my ignorance, but I guess, again, this is a design that makes only sense and you only would consider beautiful if you know what this is meant to be, right? I mean, from a pure brick build version, it looks a bit rough, but yeah, here you go. And then we have Stray Kids, Ordinary Maniac, Mad and Terrific House, and 10 and Brick Cucumber have done it. And I guess, yeah, I mean, I do like it. Why not? It's nicely done. That's nicely done. Let's put it that way. Rainforest frogs. I mean, they've just done the insects, so it would fit very well. But again, Ideas is not really a good series to have a series. So I mean, if they ever do something like an insect collection, then I'm pretty sure this thing would be quite handy for the Lego design team. And then we have Steve Irwin and the majestic crocodile. I mean, it's an interesting crocodile build. Also something that would fit the Ideas series, I do believe. I don't know if they want to do a Steve Irwin set, but yeah, quite well done. This one here is interesting. The Knights of the Round Table by Lincoln BlueBrixx Camelot. So not Camelot, but Camelot. And it's an interesting build. I mean, I don't know if, again, I can't read through all the text. So I'm actually, in this case, I'm curious what the designer has intended to do here, because it's a weird mix of timelines, right? It's not a realistic castle. It looks like a mix of modern times and medieval and the Camelot story and King Arthur and everything. So interesting for sure. An interesting build. I do like many of the building techniques, the design touches. Well done. And then we have the classic tractor. You can't have enough tractors, so that's one that I do like as well. It's a Technic set, but I don't know if Ideas will ever do something with Technic that large. But with that, we move on to Forest Base. We had this in the Bricklink Designer program, as you may call it, a very similar castle. So I think it fits there very well. I don't think that the Ideas team will do this. But yeah, I mean, if you like Forest Man, this is a cool design. And then we have the vintage service station. I don't know, I always get it certain. I mean, obviously, I've never seen a service station like this. I'm born 1979, but I think it's a cool design. It's an interesting era. It's an interesting also Hollywood era, if you will. So for that purpose, because I've seen the old movies when I was a kid, and they had service stations like this. So would love to see this. And then we have the Sea Turtle, again by Lego Truman. Really amazing design. This one I think has a shot with the Ideas team, because it's very well done and it's something that I think the Ideas team could do. And then we have No Man's Sky from NASA 105, or NASA, I think is how it's pronounced. And yeah, I think I've never played the game, but I think the plane itself, or the spaceship, or the jet, whatever you may call it, looks pretty authentic as far as I can tell. And yeah, No Man's Sky, I do believe, is quite popular. Then we have the Pirate Treasure Chest, which I think is also a pretty cool idea. A bit too, I don't know, it's lacking details and interesting building techniques, I do believe, this specific build. But yeah, why not? I mean, and if you could actually, throw this together and fit it into the box, this would be a very cool party trick. With that, we're moving on to Queen Elizabeth, a diorama, I guess in honor of the Queen, from Lego Lux 1973. Beautiful design build. However, it's pretty much driven by prints, and I think that is not something for Lego. But I mean, they could do something where more design comes through the brick build stuff and less through prints. So, but I don't think that this is something that Lego will do. Then we have the mechanical flip calendar. Always like the stuff that actually does work. This would be really cool for Lego to do, right? I mean, they did the typewriter, and at least a few things were working. This thing, of course, the question is this still cool, even if it does not completely work? However, if they could make it work, to have all the months and all the numbers and all the digits, this could be really amazing. So yeah, why not? Then we have the Italian Riviera from Galaxy 333. Great design, really love it. Would love to see this in Bricklink Designer program or something like that. Don't really think this is something for the Ideas team. We had a similar set, I think, in the first Bricklink Designer program. I think in one of the later rounds. So yeah, really like the design, really like the color scheme. This roof building technique is not new, but I always love it. With the round bricks, it looks so cool. It's so simple and looks so much like, Tuscany. But yeah, here we go. And then we have Subnautica, the Aurora by OG Brick Studio. It's not the entire ship, which I think is an amazing idea. Do like the design, pretty cool. Would be an amazing set. Not really Ideas, I do believe. Then we have again the Pink Palace, but this time by Lord Clementis. And then we have the Galley of Warriors, which is interesting. I think this is a bit like fantastical. It has a lot of masts, which is a bit unrealistic. It looks like 50% Roman, 50% Viking, 50% something else. Yes, I do know that my math is wrong. It's like a mix of like 1,000 years of shipbuilding, I would say. Yeah, please let me know in the comment section if you see this otherwise. But it's a weird timeline mix, but it looks nice nevertheless. And then we have the Krusty Burger Simpsons. Yes, I mean Lego, come on, make a Simpsons set again. I do want to see Simpsons. I do so want this. Not sure if it's ever going to happen. And then we have the working log flume redesigned and motorized by, again, Baron von Baron. And yes, I mean, this would be so much cooler than a roller coaster. That's what I think personally. One of the reasons is that I basically can't ride roller coasters because I get sick and I hate it. But these things I do like, actually, you know, getting a bit wet and it's always a bit shocking, but it is always a nice experience with my kids. So I would love to see this one. Maybe not in ideas, but would love Lego to make it. The same as I would love to see them make an IKEA store. I mean, Lego has a partnership with IKEA. I mean, come on, you're Scandinavians. You can, you know, work this out. And IKEA is selling Lego stuff like forever. So yes, make us an IKEA store. I would love to see this. Put it in the city maybe even, right? Why not? Put licenses into city. Lego is so good with licenses. So yes, I would love to see it. Not gonna happen in ideas, but oh my god, this would be cool. This one here, however, this I think has a shot. The A-Team Double Heat by Mock. I mean, oh my god, so many people would buy this because the vehicles look great, but have just for the minifigures, everybody would buy it. Ideas, you know, it's an old thing, an old beloved TV series, I do believe. There was even a movie. They could even use a modern movie license in quotes because there was a movie which I personally actually loved. I think a lot of people don't, but I think it was really cool. Nevertheless, it has a ton of potential. That's what I think. But I guess it's exactly for my age group, like people between their 40s and 50s. So, yeah. Anyhow, let's move on to Charlie and the Chocolate Factory. I think we had a Chocolate Factory before. Was not picked by Lego. So that's why I don't think that this thing has a shot. But yeah, what's not to like about a Chocolate Factory? And it would fit the Lego brand very, very well. So this was my take on this round with 42 product ideas. Let's see what the Lego Ideas team will make out of it. With that, we are moving on to MOCs of the week. And here we have the Tonfalk class escort carrier by Viktor Radomski. It has 14,246 pieces. However, the author claims that it's not so hard to build because it is quite modular. Plus, and this is always very assuring for such large MOCs, it was built in reality, as you can see here, not just thrown out of studio. So yeah, I think, I mean, it's a very simple shape, but that simple shape is well done. Actually, what I not 100% understand, because it is so simple, why he needed so many pieces. So that's it could be worthwhile just to buy the instructions to figure this out, because I mean, it's a couple of panels basically. I mean, build panels for sure, but I mean, I don't know what is going on. I mean, you can look into the inside here on the front, but again, 14,000 pieces. So I'm not really sure. I mean, maybe it's like 10,000 Technic pins or something, but it is a cool design for sure. It's a huge behemoth, quite interesting. And then we have another very beautiful build, a Sandcrawler by 5DC, 7,346 pieces. That makes a ton of sense. It's quite large. It's all built in Snot technique with bricks, which is interesting, right? I think where the many other Sandcrawler builds go more in the plate, plate to the outside direction. But this one here is just brick built, and still the shapes are amazing. It is, I think, personally the most beautiful Sandcrawler MOC I've ever seen. However, he's asking for $45. That's a lot of money for a MOC like this, or at least unusual. I don't know if it's a lot. That's for everybody else to decide. But and for sure, if you need to buy 7,300 Lego pieces, then I guess $45 is the least of your problems. But it feels a lot. Anyhow, it is a beautiful design by Jürgen Wittner, also known as 5DC. And then we have an amazing design by Marius 2002. It's a Slave 1. He has actually also done this in a recolored version for a Jango Fett ship. And I must say, it's the best Slave 1, just if I look at the shapes I've ever seen. He used, I guess, curved slopes in combination with rigid hoses to get the shape done. But it almost feels like impossible to do this with Lego bricks. It is, I mean, it is smaller, I guess, than the UCS Slave one, but it does look better, a lot better. The question is, of course, this is not built in reality. This is just from studio. Will it look in reality as good? Can you even align these slopes so perfectly as he has done here? So that's, of course, a big question. But nevertheless, I think it is an amazingly done shape. It's always too good to be true, to be honest. Big issue, of course, is that I guess this piece does not exist in a transparent fashion, at least not from Lego. So he has used a black one for the window. I guess that is the reason. I'm not even sure. I guess because he has a black window, he didn't even design interior. But this could be an issue. But everything else is just very well done by Marius. Great design. And then we have by Zendeck01 the USS Enterprise D main bridge. So 7001D. Picard's ship, and he has even done a couple of Star Trek minifigures in here, which looks really, really cool. But yeah, I mean, it's a cool design, but it is the design that needs a ton of prints and a ton of custom minifigures. So this could be quite expensive. But if you're into the game for Star Trek, why not? Plus, this could be an interesting diorama. I mean, the big question, of course, is BlueBrixx has the Star Trek license for brick build stuff, and they've done, like a bazillion Star Trek sets, and I've just talked about a couple, but they have no minifigures yet. They do have a minifigure line since a couple of months, and I've did some reporting on this. But of course, they haven't done any Star Trek minifigures. So as soon as they start doing this could be very interesting. But of course, I guess as soon as BlueBrixx does minifigures, they will do dioramas like this. So BlueBrixx designers, I recommend take a look at this. This is what people want, at least I want. Let's see if BlueBrixx is doing it, or the other way around, if BlueBrixx starts doing minifigures, this MOC could be for you. Anyhow, let's move on to a locomotive MOC by Langemat, the steam engine Baureihe 99 from Harzer Schmalspurenbahn. However, Schmalspur basically, oh god, what is the English name for this? It's like these smaller, narrower tracks. I don't know how to translate this. I'm not a train guy. So he did not do this. He used regular tracks here. But next to that, it is a beautiful locomotive design. He only needed 835 pieces. That's not much. 21 bucks though for the instructions is not too shabby, but yeah, I think it's a beautiful design and looks really, really good. With that, we're moving on to new Orient Express carriages from Trains with Lights. Actually, I think I did talk about his Emerald Night carriage. He also did a new locomotive in very similar fashion, also in the blue design, like Lego did with the Orient Express. And then he has now two new wagons, Express Car and Observation Deck, which I think also looks really cool. I guess you put, I don't know, a president on this or something like this, or a president-elect or something. How's it called, right? Or presidency candidate you put in that, right? Because that is, always the picture that at least I have in mind. So I guess in order to get all the pieces, especially the printed one, you need to buy the set multiple times. I guess that's the idea, right? You buy the set like twice, and then you can use these MOC instructions to build basically more cars or more wagons, and of course a different and potentially larger locomotive. Speaking of larger, of course, I mean, it was to be expected. A ton of alternate builds are throwing into Rebrickable around the new 80113, the family reunion set, and of course I think what a lot of people desire when they look at this set is like, hey, I want to have a modular, and this is what BlueBrixx 1999 has done here with 3,126 parts. I actually picked this alternate build compared to many others, or modifications and stuff, because it basically only needs the set twice. And because, especially in Europe, it is a pretty cheap set. In Europe, it's only $100, which is very good for 30 minifigures and 2,900 pieces or something. Really, really nice, and using just two of them to make this a full-blown modular. Of course, in order to make it a modular, you have to throw in a base plate, and I think the 4 Technic bricks for the connectivity. However, personally, I never connect my modulars. I mean, so I think you can even skip those. But yes, you need a base plate in order to make this perfectly fit. You may also be able to, out of the plates that come with the set, to basically put your own base plate format at least together. I don't know if that is feasible, but yeah, I guess buying an additional base plate is not a big thing. And yeah, and then you just need 2 times the set, $5 for the instruction. And I mean, it's not really changing the set that much, but it's also more compared to the alternative of just buying the set and throwing it back to back, 2 of them, right? I mean, which is something you may also be able to do, maybe, but this is a little bit more, but not that much more. It still picks up the original design wherever it could, which is not the case with the Natural History Museum Plus by Pantasy. 4,251 pieces, $14 for the instructions, and it's basically, it's actually a build that made it the exterior more detailed, I guess, changed the design a little bit, and also make it slightly larger. It's a modification. You need 766 additional pieces, and I think it changes the design of the build quite a lot, and it's mostly focusing on the exterior as far as I can tell. I think the interior is more or less still the same. But yeah, I mean, if the already pretty large 4,000 piece building is not enough for you, you want to throw in a little bit more, here we go. However, overall, it's only 4,251 pieces, i.e. if you remove the 766, also means you have a couple of leftovers. So that's to be considered as well. I really like the design, looks quite beautiful. However, I mean, like I've said in the past, I think the problem for me personally of the Natural History Museum is not the outside, it's the inside. That is quite far too simple. And then by BlueBrixx, we have the Forbidden Forest Scenery, 2,074 pieces. I really like this idea and the concept. I mean, it's also a nice build, right? You have the spider forest, and you have, what was it called again? I don't know. This amazing ghost cast. I'm so sorry. I just remembered it this morning. Petronos? What was it called in English? I can't recall. I think in German, it's called the Patronos, I think. Anyhow, you know what I'm talking about. And then you have the giant, of course, and the centaurs. And so it's like 3 different scenes and dioramas. And then you also create a connection modules, which basically means you can separate them and you can then throw them back together. Personally, I'm a big fan of that because I'm not a big fan of throwing some Lego onto the shelf and then leave it there for 5 years. That's not really my thing. I like to switch and change things around every couple of months, and this is a perfect way, right? You can split them apart, get them across your house, and then from time to time you bring them back together, and you have this wonderful large scenery. Anyhow, BlueBrixx is asking for $16, and that was that. I hope you liked the show. For those of you who watch this on YouTube, please leave a like or comment, or even better, subscribe to the channel. For you podcast listeners, wherever you listen to this, leave a review, a comment, or whatever it is called on your platform. Whatever you do, it does help a lot. So thanks a lot. And also, I have to say, thanks for listening. See you next week.